This is GW34 Football and FPL Rich as well. Um, we're back for game week 34. We're gonna be first going over how we did for game week 33. And then from there we'll look at game week 34 and some potential transfers. And then from there we'll also look at um, the fixtures for this game week and our predictions for that.
Okay, so moving on to our game week 33 review and how we did for this game week. I managed to get 56 points, which is below the average game week points, which is really bad actually. I did captain Salah over Holland mainly because of the differential that Salah was over Holland for this game week. I know everyone was going to captain Holland, and when when your rank is around the 700s, you really need to make up those points in picking the differential in terms of captaincy. So I know I did. I know Salah did flunk in terms of his in terms of how he played, but it was mainly more of a Liverpool really didn't do much against Crystal Palace, whereas Salah, it wasn't really, the whole blame was on Salah. So I don't really regret my decision for that. If I'm gonna pick a differential, I'm always gonna go for the differential option over the pick that everyone goes for. For my other stars in my team, mainly the main star here is pretty much Cole Palmer with those 26 points. He scored 4 goals for Chelsea this week against Everton. Pretty much, if you captain him, pretty much you were well above the points for getting a green arrow. Um, and Cole Palmer has always been pretty much playing well. I think he's tied on goals with Holland for Golden Boot for this season. So I do believe we'll see who's going to get that Golden Boot.
Yeah, so now going on to what I did for game week 33. I did 88 points. Flecken did pretty well in goal with 7 points. Everyone else, besides Palmer, which I did captain, I did bring him in for Foldham this week. He turned out to be a very good pick. But everyone else was betting on Son, Salah, Havertz, Udogi with the 0 points. Everyone else really didn't show up this game week, so I'm a little frustrated that I maybe could have earned a little bit more points, but definitely with that Palmer bringing in Palmer and captaining him really did pay off, and also Isak did very well in that Tottenham game. He got a goal and his team won, so he got 12 points there. But overall, yeah, that's how I did for this game week. Now going over the most transferred in players for FPL this game week. And first on our list we have Saka. He's worth 9 million with 58 a little over 58% of selection by managers. And I'm honestly maybe thinking of bringing him in as well this game week. I think Saka is a really good transfer just because he doesn't have a double game week this week. I do see him maybe getting some good points there. And then another player that we have here is Gordon from Newcastle. Last week he scored 16 points, I believe. He did score a goal, played very well. His team won. And he does have some really good fixtures going forward. And then another person here on the list that we want to just point out is Luis Diaz from Liverpool. Really good player, as he also has a double game week this week. A little bit less selection by managers, so could be a good differential if y'all are maybe thinking of captaining him. But the thing with him is that Jota is back, so there's going to be a loss in minutes with him.
Okay, so now moving on to the most transferred out players for this game week. At first, we do have Heung-min Son with over 400,000 transfers out for FPL managers this week. Kind of really shows you how many players are thinking of moving away from Heung-min Son. In terms of Heung-min Son, his cost is at 9.9 right now, but does blank this game week. So if you do have a wild card or a free hit, you could easily get him back within those, get him out this game week, and then just bring him back in for his double game week fixtures in game week 35 and 37, where he does have, I believe, in 37 would be a better time to bring him in, where he does have City and Burnley for those game weeks. So if I were to bring him in, I'd probably bring him in around 37. Now moving on to the next player, where we do have Pedro Porro, another Tottenham player. Tottenham pretty much has been on this list recently with how their performances have been. With that big loss against Newcastle, losing 4-0, kind of unexpectedly, but kind of goes to show where one game week can really show which players are being moved out and which players are being moved in. Pedro Porro is still on my team, and I'm probably still going to keep him for the rest of the season, even though I do believe he did pick up a knock. So depending on his injuries, kind of depends on whether I'll bring him out or keep him.
Now going over the best fixtures for game week 34, what we think are going to be the best fixtures. First on our list, we have Liverpool, their double game week this week against Fulham and Everton. And this is going to be really good fixtures, even though they're coming off of some tough losses. It's going to be good fixtures for those of you that have like Mohamed Salah as myself as well, to captaining him this week, even though I think they're going to be playing away both of these games, but especially even with that Everton game that they have, what Chelsea did to Everton, I think Liverpool could also be a threat to them as well. Fulham is going to be a little bit tougher, but they have Jota back and Luis Diaz and Salah, so a big threat. And second on our list, we have Sheffield United against Manchester United. And Manchester United is actually going to be playing home this game. Bruno Fernandes has been playing very well as of the last game week, so definitely a good player to consider bringing into your team. Even for Garnacho, us to have him on our team, we're definitely going to be considering him playing him as a starter this game week. And then next on our list for the next fixture is the Arsenal, their double game week for this game week against Wolves and Chelsea. Against Wolves, they're going to be playing away, and then against Chelsea, they're going to be playing home. Also, Arsenal coming off of some tough losses last week against Aston Villa, and then getting eliminated from the champions. But I think they're definitely still in the race for the title. It's just it's gonna be they have a tougher fixtures till the end of the season. So these two games are definitely games where they're gonna have to show their best squad, and I think having Kai Havertz is gonna be a big threat. Saka also a big threat up top. Um, for Chelsea, having Palmer is a big threat to Arsenal themselves. So those players are to note there.
Now moving on to number 4 spot is Man City versus Brighton. Man City are facing Brighton. I do believe they're facing Brighton away. For this fixture, even though they are facing away, Man City has been eliminated from the Champions League as well. Kind of goes to show that both Arsenal and City pretty much now need to fully focus on the Premier League. So with City pretty much having the advantage on the Premier League for this season. So that means that they're going to have to be putting out their strongest side for each game. Given that I still have Foden in my team and I have Holland as well, I am going to keep Foden now for the rest of the season, since it's given that pretty much City have been eliminated from the Champions League, and now they can fully focus on the Premier League, given that Now Foden can pretty much play all the other fixtures leading on till the end of the season. So yeah, that's a very good fixture for City. And our number fifth spot, we do have Aston Villa versus Bournemouth, with Aston Villa facing Bournemouth at home. Aston Villa always perform exceptionally well at home, and they're also fighting for that top four spot. They also beat Arsenal 3-0 away in their last fixture, so they are on good form, and I do believe they're gonna cause Bournemouth a lot of trouble. I do have Dominic Solanke still on my team, and I do believe Dominic Solanke does have a double game week fixture for game week 34. So it does. So if you do have any Bournemouth players and Aston Villa players, where uh, Watkins is a good pick for this game week as well. And now moving on to our game week 34 transfer plan. I do have two free transfers and zero point 0.8 in the bank. I didn't do any transfers as I said for last week. I did roll the transfer, keeping Foden in my team. I was gonna go for Foden over for Darwin if Foden wasn't gonna play, but there was a leak where Foden was going to start, but Foden didn't even play that game. So but for me, it doesn't really matter to me. I kept Foden mainly because of how good he is and what form he's at as well. So I'm going to keep him for the rest of the season. And actually, the transfers that I'm going to be doing for this is going to be first. I'm going to be moving away from Doughty to a Michael from Crystal Palace. For this reason is that Crystal Palace do have a double game week fixture and game week 34, and pretty much he is the same price as Doughty, pretty much giving me leeway for future transfers. My other transfer for this game week is going to be moving away from a Son to a Gordon from Newcastle, as Newcastle has been doing pretty much exceptionally well in the Premier League as of lately, and Gordon has been pretty much one of the main reasons they've been doing so well. Pretty much, I do believe Gordon did score a massive 17 points last week, and Son has been Tottenham as a whole has been pretty much spiraling down. And I do believe Gordon does have the better fixtures in the Prem, so I am moving away from a Son to a Gordon. And I'm probably going to be getting Son later on, and where he does have that double game week in game week 37 against Burnley and Man City. So that's probably one of my transfer plans are going to be for this week. Now moving on to my game week 34 team selection. This is how I'm going to be lining up with a 3-5-2 and 4.4 into bank. I do have Pickford in goal with that Forest and Liverpool home fixtures. Hopefully, it can pick up at least one clean sheet in those fixtures. And we have a back line of three with Virgil, Gabriel, and Mitchell on my team. All three of my back line do have double game week fixtures, so that's very good. And my midfield five consists of Salah, Palmer, Garnacho, Gordon, and Foden, with my captaincy being on Salah for those double game weeks that he does have against Fulham and Everton. And my front two is Mateta and Solanke, another double game week players. So I do believe in total I do have 7 double game week players for game week 34, which is good. I do have Holland on the bench for right now. I might move away from there, and pretty much closer to the deadline I might put in Holland for a Garnacho or for someone else. We'll see, but definitely don't want to keep Holland on the bench. But that kind of comes down to the deadline, whether which player I'll put on the bench.
All right, so I'm now going over my game week 34 transfer plan for this week, and I also have one. I have one free transfer, 5.1 million remaining in the bank, and the transfer that I'm gonna be doing this game week um, is gonna be Sun for Saka. Um, Considering that Sun is doesn't have a game week this game week. And also, I'm not even sure if I'm gonna be bringing him back in. I'm gonna be doing my wild card next game week, but I really did have been losing my faith in Son. Um, he hasn't been doing great as of late. As like I said, I was betting pretty big on him. I could have transferred him out last week, but I kind of was betting on him this prior game week and didn't do very well. So I know he's having a game week double game week on game week 37, but um I might have to consider to see if I could bring him in then. But I mean, for my new transfer that I'm bringing in, Saka, he's also gonna be having a double game week this week. And I do believe he's gonna be at least against Chelsea. I do believe he's gonna be a big threat. Even against Wolves, there's a big threat there. But I think Saka is a good pick for my team, and I'm not sure if for my wild card next week if I'll still be keeping him, but at least for this game week, I do consider him a good pick. And with this transfer, for game week 34, I will be lining up with a 3-5-2. And I still have 6 million in the bank. I do have Flecken in goal. And then I have a back line of three with Ben White, Mikalenko, and Virgil all having double game weeks this week. Saka, Salah, Palmer, Havertz, and Garnacho as my midfield. For my captaincy, I am gonna be captaining Saka with the vice captaincy on Salah. In bringing in Saka, I do believe he has a good chance of scoring big, um, especially at home against Chelsea. Um, but I mean, I might reconsider later on in the deadline to see if I change it over to Salah. And then my top two strikers up top with Isak and Darwin. Isak coming off of a really good game week last week. I really think he could do very well against Crystal Palace. And Darwin being a double game week player. I might be next week getting rid of him with the wild card as he hasn't been doing great as of late. But this week I'm betting on him and having Munoz on the bench and Udogi and Areola. And yeah, this is my lineup for this game week.
Now, lastly, let's move on to our game week 34 predictions. Last week, I do believe me and Kayasiete both tied for our predictions, but we flipped a coin to see who was going to win and who was going to endure the challenge of the Faithful of Flower. So, Kayasiete did end up winning the coin flip, so I will be doing the challenge. I think we're going to save that for the end of the video, and let's just go over our predictions for this for game week 34. First up, we do have Luton against Brentford. I am predicting a Luton win over Brentford, a 2-1 win. Luton are facing Brentford at home, and that's why I'm giving Luton the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, definitely two teams that are fighting for regulation. I think Brentford is a little um, in the safer zone, but I think Brentford coming off of a win, I think they'll be able to at least tie away this game 1-1.
Next up, we do have Sheffield United against Burnley, two teams at the bottom two for fighting for relegation. Burnley has pretty much picked up form in the past couple fixtures. They did end up tying 1-1 against Brighton at home last week, with the Brighton pretty much scoring towards the very end of the game. So, given that Burnley has been doing very well, I do believe Burnley will be end up winning this game 2-1 for Burnley.
Yeah, this game week's gonna be really very crucial for regulation. Two more teams at the bottom. Um, I think for this one, I'm gonna give it to Sheffield though. They're gonna end up beating them and maybe making it a little bit closer in that regulation. But I have them winning 2-1.
Next up, we do have Wolves versus Arsenal. Arsenal facing Wolves at way. Uh, Wolves did tie last time against Forest 2-2, and Arsenal did lose 3-0 against or 2-0 against Aston Villa. So both teams are pretty much looking to win this game, but I do believe Arsenal are going to bounce back with that Champions League loss as well, winning 2-4.
Yeah, two teams that need to bounce back. More so Arsenal fighting for that title now. Um, I think they're gonna pull off the win. It's just gonna be a very close game. I think Arsenal's gonna win this one 2-1.
Now moving on to Everton versus Forest. Everton facing Forest at home. Last week, Everton did lose 6-0 against Chelsea, which pretty much kind of Everton got decimated there. And Forest did tie 2-2 against Wolves. So I do believe Everton are a very good defensive side, even though they did lose 6-0 against Chelsea. It's one of those game weeks where you just have a bad week. But I do believe Everton are going to keep a clean sheet against Forest and winning 1-0.
For this Everton team, I mean they were ranked I believe pretty well with their clean sheets, but what we saw last week, I don't think they'll be able to keep a clean sheet. Nottingham Forest has been playing very well with Nuno, and I think Nottingham Forest is going to be able to pull out a win away 2-1.
Now moving on to Aston Villa versus Bournemouth. Aston Villa last week did get that really good result against Arsenal, winning 2-0, and Bournemouth also got a good result against United, winning or tying the game 2-2. Two teams on good form, I would say, but Aston Villa being on better form and facing Bournemouth at home. With Aston Villa always playing very well at home, I do believe Aston Villa are going to win this week 3-1.
For this game week, I have Aston Villa winning as well. I have them winning 3-2.
Now moving on to Crystal Palace versus West Ham. Crystal Palace facing West Ham at home. Last week, Crystal Palace did beat Liverpool away, so a very good fixture for a very good win for Crystal Palace in that game week. And West Ham did, I believe, they lost 2-0 against Fulham. So one team pretty much having to bounce back, but Crystal Palace are on the better form, and I do believe Crystal Palace are going to tie 2-2.
I also have this as a draw, 1-1.
Now moving on to Arsenal versus Chelsea, the second double game week for Arsenal facing Chelsea on a Tuesday. Chelsea did win 6-0 against Everton. They are on a very good recent form, and Arsenal on pretty bad recent form for pretty much losing twice, once in the Champions League and once in the Premier League. So I do believe that's going to affect this game, even though they are at home. I do believe this is gonna end in a draw, 2-2 for Arsenal and Chelsea.
Yeah, I also agree that coming off of those two losses is going to take an effect on Arsenal, predicting that they're going to win the first match that they have. But this one against Chelsea at home, I think they're gonna tie 2-2, and players like maybe Palmer and Saka are gonna show up in this game, but it's not gonna be a good fixture for Arsenal in that title race.
Now moving on to Wolves versus Bournemouth, the two teams that have a double game week for this game week face again. Um, Wolves, of course, facing Bournemouth at home, but I do have Dominic Solanke in my team, so I do believe this is going to be a pretty interesting type of game. But at the end of it, I do believe Wolves is going to beat Bournemouth 3-2.
For this one, I have this being another draw, 2-2 against these two.
Mm-hmm. Now moving on to Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. This is the second game for Crystal Palace in this game week. Given that I do predict them tying against West Ham in the first game, I do believe they're going to lose against Newcastle in this game week. Newcastle they're a pretty good side. They did just beat Tottenham 4-0, so I do believe this is going to come to this game and Newcastle are going to beat Crystal Palace 2-1.
Yeah, for this one, I think Newcastle is definitely the better side. Especially with having Isak and Gordon in good form. I think they're gonna win this game away 3-1.
Now moving on to Everton versus Liverpool. This is the other double game week for both Everton and Liverpool. Uh, this is a Everton at home game, but I do believe Liverpool, since they are battling for that top prem spot, they are going to overtake Everton for this game, winning the game 2-1.
I'm still waiting for a Liverpool clean sheet. They haven't been getting many clean sheets as of late, but I think against maybe this Everton team that is a little weaker on the offensive side, I think they can maybe get a clean sheet and win this one 2-0 away.
Now moving on to Man United versus Sheffield United. Man United facing Sheffield at home. United did face a kind of a struggle against Bournemouth last week, but I do believe against Sheffield United they are going to beat them 3-1.
Yeah, I also have Manchester United winning this one. It's all in favor for them playing at home against the worst team in the league right now. Bruno Fernandes doing very well, so I have him winning also 3-1.
Now moving on to our last fixture for the double game week, ending off with Brighton versus City on a Thursday. City coming off from that bad loss against Real Madrid in the Champions League, and Brighton coming up pretty much with a bad fixture themselves against Burnley. I do believe City, though, since they are fighting for the Prem, they are going to beat Brighton 3-1.
Brighton being a very good defensive team. City's gonna be playing the FA Cup this weekend. So this game's gonna be on Thursday. I think Pep Guardiola is still gonna be managing his players a little bit, considering that he has a game right away after that Thursday game on Sunday. I think City will be able to win this one 3-0 away.
All right, guys, let's move on to the challenge here. I do have the flower. I'm putting it in my hand right now. So I do have it here in my hands, the flower, and I'm gonna be just pretty much slapping it on my face. I think this should make a good amount of mess, so I'm gonna just go for with this one and just go for it. Yeah, that made that made a good mess. Uh, so yeah, that's all we have for this a week. Can you do the outro, Kayasiete, for us?
Yes, I'm still undefeated in this, but I'm not planning to lose anytime soon. But make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe and stay tuned for upcoming videos.